Welcome to Pop Culture Maniacs podcast. I'm your host today, Kieran Freemantle, and joining me as always is Gene Henegan. So our discussion this week will be on physical and digital media and the current situation involving both of them. So obviously we are living in an age where digital media is on the rise because of streaming services, and it easily able to buy films and TV on digital services. And got the supposed decline and near death of physical media. Personally, I don't subscribe to that theory. Mainly because I've got a large DVD and Blu-ray collection. It will mean that I've wasted a lot of time if that's the case with physical media. So there is self-interest there.
I completely agree on that point.
Yeah. So obviously we discussed it in the previous podcast with the streaming wars, and we both are of the view that it's not going to last forever. There is going to something's got to give with so many streaming services at the moment, and with our current situation with streaming services, everyone's trying to hoard back all their content, because obviously Disney's getting everything they can back, and obviously if you're going to have Warner Brothers are probably doing the same for HBO. Obviously other streaming services exist, and they're all trying to hoard back all their films and TV shows.
Yeah, and I mean, I think as you said, it's all interconnected to the streaming wars. Like, I'm personally of the mind that if you love something, a movie, a TV show, just buy it. Buy a hard copy of it, because you'll always have that. And even if DVD players go the way of the VHS, which I highly doubt at this point, Blu-ray is always there. Plus, with most of these, particularly films these days, you get digital copies with it. So to me, you want to be in possession of a physical copy of the medium, because you never know, what's going to happen, to Amazon or Hulu or Disney. Will Disney buy up 7 more movie studios, and then nothing's going to be on Netflix? So you're going to have to get Disney Plus. But what happens if it's too expensive? And it just becomes this whole question of how long will the media be available to you in an easy to digest form? Just buy it.
That's my view. And I think in recent years, within the last few years, there has been sort of more of an uptake of sort of high-end Blu-ray companies. So you've got Criterion Collection, within and the Shout Factory. Then you've got within the UK, you got Arrow and Eureka, who obviously, and Studio Canon as well, do quite a lot of restoration and re-releases as well. So you got that sort of high-end market. So you're paying a bit more for those discs, but you're getting a lot you're getting a lot bang for your buck with those lots.
Yeah, absolutely. And as someone who exists mostly in the TV realm, it can be expensive to buy an entire season of a TV show or an entire series of a TV show. But it's well worth it to me to have, the entire series of West Wing when it was moving between Netflix and HBO Max here in the States, because a lot of people I know didn't have HBO Max and were lamenting that they were never going to be able to watch it again. Well, if you have the DVDs, you always have it, or the Blu-rays, you always have it with you. So if something falls off the face of the earth because a studio closes and nobody buys it, well, then you have access to the show that you love so much.
Yeah, exactly. As I think we're both very much in agreement. The advantages of physical is you've got it forever. I think the only ways you will lose it is either if the disc breaks, or you get a government saying banning it. But then I think we've got bigger issues concerned about then, just if your government's coming in to take away your DVDs.
Yeah, that'd be incredibly difficult. Speaking as a lawyer, that'd be incredibly difficult to pull.
I mean, this is ultra extreme idea. The other option, the other thing is obviously you say DVD players or whatever are never built. But I think again that's very unlikely, because I think certainly for something like games consoles, they serve a triple function, because you're there obviously play computer games, DVD Blu-ray player, and plus a streaming device as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite critics out there, Matt Zoller Sites, speaks a lot online about issues getting physical media, and also the benefits to it. And he's absolutely of the same mind that we are, that if you love something, you should own it, because you never know what's going to happen down the line. But one of the other things he's pointed out lately is that now that Disney has bought Fox, it's nearly impossible to get access to copies of Fox films to screen them. Not necessarily like privately to have like.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. Like if you're going to show it like in a small screening or something.
Yeah. That Disney's not letting these out, so it's another reason to, stock up on your favorites, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future with studios merging. Somebody might buy up a studio with the film that you loved and decide not to release it again because it's not financially prudent for them to do so.
Which I think is just a silly move anyway, because if you, I think suppressing it, all it does is drives up intrigue, especially if it's like an embarrassing secret, and people will just end up pirating things anyway. So I think generally as well, because after the pandemic, we are moving towards like a multi-platform release schedule. So I think your really big films are going to be released in cinemas. Then your slightly smaller films that might be released on both in cinemas and on streaming services of VOD at the same time as well. That's end of it said.
Yeah, I mean, and as somebody who subscribes to far too many streaming services, I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate knowing that, this year I'll have access to most of, if not all of, the Warner Brothers slate through HBO Max. That's nice. I mean, I would prefer to watch a giant blockbuster in a theater full of people, but having that niche as well is nice. And I think, particularly younger generations as they come up are being conditioned to expect everything to appear in streaming services, which necessarily, it's not a bad thing. It's just the way media is structured at the moment. So there's going to be, I worry that there's going to be a loss in their reliance on physical media, so that, studios will be able to leverage that and take advantage of that in ways that only increase their bottom line, but could hurt consumers.
Yeah, and I think I remember like once this was quite a few years ago, watched on a TV show, they were like showing like sort of like the extraordinary differences between views of music on older people and younger people. Like younger people sort of like oddly thinking that they were quite appreciative of actually physically having like an album on vinyl, yet the older people are saying we just want it on the best quality we can get. And so obviously it's a lot easier if you have an iPod carrying that around and trying to carry around a load of CDs.
Yeah, so perhaps, like the DVD Blu-ray media will kind of be, cyclical like that, where, those of us who grew up with VHS and are thrilled with Blu-ray, maybe, the next generation below us isn't particularly as thrilled with it because they're perfectly content to just stream everything. Very much analogous to what you just said about, the idea of people our age and older being thrilled that you can just have your entire album collection on your computer and not have to worry about lugging something around or taking up space with it. And perhaps, in a couple generations from now, it'll flip back where they want the media, the physical media, and they don't trust streaming services, frankly, because maybe they've done something, which I suspect they will in the future, that made people less inclined to rely on them for their media.
Yeah, I think with digital media as well, because I think that there have been quite a few reports of Disney. They have re-edited quite a few films, so to make them a bit cleaner. And I think obviously because of politics last year, show you weren't able to stream certain episodes of, like, was it a Community or Peep Show, because they had controversial material. So advantage of physical media is, again, that can't be taken away. You're basically, the problem with streaming is you're at the whim of the streaming services.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they want to edit something out, they want to cut. I mean, the West Wing episodes on Netflix were cut slightly shorter than the actual broadcast episodes. They don't quite match with what's on the DVDs. The DVDs are longer, so you lose a little bit. Not even counting, you know, the special features or extra episodes and all that other, you know, bells and whistles that come with it, which is always fun.
Yeah, I think that is one with people's decline of physical media, is there has been less emphasis on the special features, like the sort of making of films and all that kind of things. Because, you know, about what would you say, 15 years ago, you can get like a two disc set and having loads of you could have like a couple of hours of extra content, and now DVDs pretty much same price, but you got the it's pretty much bare bones with extras.
It's disappointing. You know, I always enjoyed a good episode commentary. I like to see how the sausage is made in production. So
because that's what I did with Simpsons. When I was at uni, I ended up like having it binge watching it just with the commentary, so giving the fun antidotes behind all these episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was in law school, I would do all my outlines for courses just with West Wing's seasons 2 and 3 playing all on a loop. And, you know, I got to the point where I could go to sleep and just quote the entire season.
Yeah.
And it was just, you know, it's wonderful to have that.
Yeah. And I think a little while ago with Amazon, they have admitted that if you buy a film digitally, you're essentially just buying the license. You're, at any time that license could get pulled away, and you end up losing that film's hands. Hence why I don't buy much digitally and many digital only copies.
Yeah, same. I mean, I've been restocking my my Disney cartoon collection now that my parents have decided to excise all the old VHSs. And the nice thing that a lot of the Disney DVDs have is you get a DVD, a Blu-ray, and you get a digital copy with it. And it's like a personalized digital copy. So you just have a code and all that. And it's nice because you know you're going to have that. They're not going to take that license away from you because you bought the physical media. And it's a nice element to have because it, you know, if you prefer it to be a digital copy, then you have that. If you want to watch the Blu-ray with some extra features, you've got that too.
Yeah. I think it was also like, whilst we obviously have been ragging on digital media, well, I will concede there are benefits. Obviously, the most obvious is convenience, whether it's on using a streaming service, or if you brought it in, you could scroll and find it on your iPad or whatever. Obviously, the other advantage of digital media is it's great for indie creators. So, because obviously you've got a lot less cost of trying to have to produce the physical media. So you can go on Amazon and find lots of indie, quite a few indie films, quite cheap. And obviously musicians and authors have been doing it for quite a while with iTunes and Kindle Store. So you can get cheap. Obviously you get a lot of shovelware as well, but that's the risk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somebody who I realized this past week, the only time I ever like turn on my actual TV these days is to watch Jeopardy. Every other thing I watch is on the streaming service, and I'll go turn on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon and just watch, you know, a movie or watch TV shows. I find myself rarely turning on my TV to watch actual TV now, and that's, you know, a sign that, I mean, digital's here to stay. It's, you know, the streaming services are not going anywhere. Sure, they'll, you know, cannibalize each other at some point, but we're always going to have digital streaming media as part of the way we consume media until something better comes along and usurps it. But I feel like, much like we think movie theaters aren't going away, we're convinced they're going to come back because there's that community feeling. To me, it's the same thing about having physical media. I want to have that control. I want to know that I'm always going to be able to revisit that film or that TV show that I love so much.
Exactly. I think like with me, because with say with I still get the occasional CD, not very often, but you still, because obviously you could whack it on iTunes and whack it onto your own iPod, even if you don't actually use the CD very often.
Yeah, I've been going back through my old CDs that I have, and I've just been ripping them to my computer lately because I realized how much I had that I just kind of forgot about. And it's nice to know that, 15, 20 years later, I can go back to that Alanis Morissette CD that I bought when I was, 12. And I can still listen to it again on my iPhone. And it's nice to know you have that and you haven't lost it. And, it doesn't go away. Like if you switch computers, your computer gets corrupted, your Apple account gets screwed up, you could lose everything that you bought.
Yes, I've noticed the harsh reality of when like a hard drive fails. That costs a lot if you want that fixed. Spread the net wide to play it safe.
Yeah, always back it up.
Yeah, I think whilst we obviously been talking about like mostly film and TV, I think then remember an example though with books, because there was talk of that like Kindles and other like similar objects are just going to completely wipe out physical books. But if anything, I think physical books have actually been going back up, haven't sales for them have been going back up.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays if it's right, I read War and Peace at the start of quarantine, and I absolutely bought that on my Kindle because I'm not about to lug War and Peace around. But if it's not a super insanely thick book, I mean, I'd rather have that in my hand and turn the actual pages and not worry that I'm going to spill water on my Kindle and fry it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and again, it's with the thing with like with I said with Kindle is license could be taken away at any point, and then you haven't got it anymore.
Absolutely, there's benefits to the Kindle, and I love having it.
Yeah,
but I enjoy a book.
I think as well. The other factor, whether it's physical or digital media, most consumers, they probably just think price. What's the best value? What's that they can get?
Yeah, and often the Kindle is the cheaper option, but again, that's Amazon making it the cheaper option. So there's if you dig in enough, you can find a book that's definitely cheaper.
Yeah. And, again, like as I said before, you get a lot of advantage, and obviously great for indie creators, but you also get a lot of shovelware. Because I remember reading one book through the Kindle. It was like a crime thriller. It's like one of the worst books I ever read. It was sort of oddly humorous and offensive at the same time.
And that's hard to be humorous and offensive at the same time.
Yeah. And I don't know, like with some things, you can't even, if you just can't get the physical media, you have to get the digital one. Like there's a band I like called Wax Fang. Their CDs weren't available in the UK, so I had to buy had to buy them through iTunes. That was the only way I could get them, or obviously I can go onto Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, and there's absolutely benefits to finding things you wouldn't normally find that can't be carried in other ways, which is similar to streaming sites for film and television. Netflix still has an incredible reach of international TV and film, and Hulu now does as well, that you wouldn't get otherwise. And so it's nice once you do digging, you can definitely find gems within digital.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously like within the UK, like BBC and Channel 4 realised that they have to compete. So often they still show whatever on BBC One or Channel 4 or whatever. But you can also get the whole binge watch the whole series on the iPlayer or 4OD. Like probably the most recent example would be something like It's a Sin by Russell T Davis's new show. That's you can binge watch all of that on 4OD if you prefer.
And I just binge watched it, literally all of it yesterday on
All right.
Max. So I'll have a review up.
Oh, cool. So there's a little bit of insight for you listeners about how we operate things. We just make it up as we go along.
Just find what we like and then write about it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think as I said, as a sort of, some people would argue as well, if you're into physical media, that you're just a Luddite, that you're just fighting against the inevitable. But you don't know what's going to happen with the future, because obviously some people will say like things like that rise of things like TV and rise of radio, internet sort of pretty much has ruined traditional news. But you can also think of plenty of failures as well as the successes of new technology. Something like Google Glass was a complete failure.
I was just thinking about that the other day. My God, it was so bad.
Yeah. So you obviously you truly cannot guess what the future is really going to hold.
Yeah, so it's better to be prepared for all contingencies.
Yeah. As I said, I think we accept in digital's here to stay. We accept that there are advantages to digital, but there's no, as I say, I think if someone's foolish enough to say get rid of all their DVDs or Blu-rays, you get what you deserve, really, because that is just a foolish attitude.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, so that's our conclusion. We love physical. That could sound very dodgy.
We love physical media, but we appreciate what digital can offer as well.
Exactly.
Probably something.
Exactly. And I think on that note, thank you very much, listeners. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, subscribe, check out popculturemaniacs.com, and we'll speak to you again soon. Cheers. Bye.